morning. So this is a reminder to always make time for yourself. Stretching in the morning was something that I started to do a couple months ago to just like reset my mind and my body before starting my day. And I found it extremely helpful. And of course, life happened, and the first thing that got put to the side was my stretching. And I started to notice, especially this week, how much that impacted me. I have a tremor, so that started like kind of kicking in again. That just like busy feeling inside of my body started coming back. So here we are this morning going into a stretch class to start the day. I have a busy day, and so this couldn't be the most perfect way to begin the busy day. So thank you for joining me. We're gonna start in cat and cow. So coming through to all fours, hands and knees. Take a deep breath in. Exhale as you curl the tail under, rounding the spine. Inhaling as you lift the heart, the tail, stretching up through the crown of your head. Exhale, navel to spine, rounding, especially through that lower back. Inhaling, lifting the tail, lifting the heart. And as you can tell, I like to wiggle. My body in the morning is not ready to move. So adding in any wiggles is much appreciated, I am sure. A few more. And last one. And then taking those arms out long, dropping your chest down into the floor, lifting your tail towards the ceiling, or what I call happy puppy. This feels really lovely through the upper mid back, starting to notice how tight the shoulders might be, but also feeling a nice stretch through the lower back. I'm going to start to slide my way out, all the way down onto the mat, drawing my hands into my sides. And then I'm going to just lift my heart, feeling those shoulders drawing down the back. Feel the belly lifting away from the floor and depressing down into the tops of my thighs and feet. Lowering the head and the chest down, pressing those hips back towards the heels, child's pose. Breathing here into the lower back, lengthening out through the arms, the fingers, focusing on deep breaths to quiet the body and the mind. Starting to shift your weight forward, lower your chest down, hands are close to the ribs, lifting the heart up, lowering the heart down, pressing into those arms, shifting those hips back into child's pose. Two deep breaths here. On your next inhale, we're going to float the chest down, pressing into the hands, lifting the heart up, lowering the heart, pressing those hips back towards those heels. One last time. Two deep breaths in and out. Last deep breath in and out. Stretching those arms over to the right, feeling like your left arm's reaching a little bit longer. Feeling that all the way from your left hip down the side body, under the shoulder. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Walking those arms over to the left. This time that right arm reaches longer. Again, feeling that stretch down the side of the body. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Walking those hands back to center. Coming back onto the belly, lowering the chest and shoulders down. This time, bringing those forearms down into the mat, elbows underneath those shoulders for Sphinx. Lifting the heart, feeling the belly lifting up and in, and then shrugging their shoulders back down. Deep breath in, root down into the forearms to lift the heart, lifting the belly, feeling that stretch across the front side of the belly, and lowering that back down. One more time, lifting the heart, feel the belly lifting away from the mat, and lowering back down. We're going to go into a little rotation. So I want you to lift up into our Sphinx pose so that I can face you. I'm going to push into my right shoulder, looking back over my left shoulder. My right arm is a little bit long, not fully extended, but just a little bit long. Feeling that down that right side into the rib, front of the belly. Lowering that down, switching sides, pressing into that left arm, straightening through the left elbow a little bit, looking back at the right side of your hip. Breathing down that left side body. And lower that back down. Bring your hands close to your ribs and press yourselves up to a quadruped position. So we're going to take that right leg straight back behind us. And we're going to sweep that right leg over to the left. And I'm turning my gaze to my right foot over my left shoulder. So again, getting into that side body again, from my hip all the way up into my rib. I don't want to sink into my shoulders. I want to root down and lift out of those shoulders. And really feel like I'm pushing through that right heel, breathing down that right side body. Coming back to center. Good. We're going to lift that right leg up. We're going to bend that right leg in. This is a little challenging on your balance. You're going to take your left hand and reach for your right foot and lift through the foot, the chest, the shoulder. So you're stretching again through that whole right side body. Staying lifted, staying strong. Releasing that arm and the leg and lowering that back down. We'll get ready for the other side. Left leg extends straight back behind you. You're going to sweep that left leg over to the right side of the room, and we're turning back towards that left foot, looking over the right shoulder. Again, feeling this down, that left side body, pushing through that left heel, breathing into the waistline, breathing into the belly. Bringing that leg back to center, keeping the leg lifted. Bend the leg, root down into the left arm, reach back with your right to catch your left foot, and start to press the foot into the hand and lift your chest, your shoulders, Lift through the thigh, feeling that stretch through the whole front side body. Carefully releasing the arm and the leg, lowering back down. Coming through to seated, drawing the soles of your feet together, your knees wide, pressing those thighs down into the mat, and then hinging from your hips, stretching forward. I like to really emphasize a flat back here, so I'm trying not to round, but try to lengthen out my heart towards my toes. Thinking of my belly button reaching towards my heel, breathing into my hips. Taking those arms over to the right. Left arm is a little bit longer. Again, breathing into the side, all the way down into the hip. Coming through center, taking it over to the left. Breathing into that right side body. Being present with the difference from right to left side. Coming back through center. Maybe you're able to get a little bit further. And then slowly rolling it up to seated. So we're going to get into our quads. So there's lots of different steps for this. One, we're going to pull that right leg back behind us. In a good world, if you're very flexible in a good world, you want your knee pointing forward, but I do realize the hips tend to be a really tight area. So if your knee's turning out a little bit, as long as it doesn't put any negative pressure on your knee, you can also adjust your foot, like flexing your foot, things of that nature. So just to start, you can begin to lean back. And for some of you, this might be a perfect spot to be. You can also drop down onto your forearms. And again, this might be a perfect spot for you to be. Your other option is laying all the way down and just breathing into the front of that right thigh. So we're just going to take 3 deep breaths here, kind of focusing on letting go of that right hip and right thigh. So deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. One more time. So if you made it all the way down like me, the easiest way to get out is to roll to the left side and then extend that leg and press yourselves back up to seated. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So again, no sides created equal. Your goal is to keep your knee pointing straight ahead if you can. You can just start to lean back at your hands. You can take it down to your elbows or all the way down onto the mat. You might notice that one leg is a little bit tighter than the other. So just taking deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Deep breaths in and out. Last deep breath. Exhale. And again, if you made it down this far, You'll turn to your right side, extending the left leg and pressing yourselves up to seated. So for this next one, it's a nice shoulder stretch. So I'm gonna sit kind of angled so that you can see where my arms are from my back. So I take my arms out to the sides. I'm gonna cross my elbows, and you can see I'm grabbing my shoulder blades. My elbows are stacked, and I'm letting my elbows drop down so my shoulders are spreading wide. So just being here, you should feel a really lovely stretch. To get a little bit deeper, you can drop your chin down into your arms with a slight little flexion forward into the chest. And just breathing here, deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Sitting tall, stretching those arms apart. We're gonna switch sides. So the other arm comes on top, dropping those elbows and dropping your head down. 2 deep breaths. Good. And release. One more move. We're gonna do mermaid. So this is a classic Pilates move. I have my right leg crossed in front and my left leg behind me. So again, we're gonna get into the waistline. Just stretch your right arm up to the sky, and you're going to side flex up and over to the left side of the room. Your goal is to look upward towards the ceiling to get the deepest stretch that you can down your side body. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Lifting up tall, dropping your right forearm onto the floor. Keep reaching your left hip down to the floor as you stretch your left arm up and over. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Pressing down into that right arm, taking your left hand to your ankle, right hand to your knee, and gently folding down, rounding towards your left thigh, relaxing your shoulders. Sit heavy into that right hip. Carefully rolling yourselves up. We'll swing those legs around. Left leg forward, right leg back for the other side. Lifting the left arm up to the sky and side flexing up and over. Looking upward towards the ceiling to get a deeper stretch. Inhaling and exhaling. Lifting up tall, dropping the left forearm down, reaching that right arm up and over, and sitting heavy into that right hip. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Pressing into that left arm to lift you tall, taking your right hand to your ankle, left hand to your knee, gently rounding your nose down towards your thigh, dropping your shoulders, and feeling that stretch down the left side body. And unraveling back to center. Thank you for joining me this morning. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And don't forget, time for you is definitely important in every situation. single day.